again. Welcome to Professional Goblin Podcast. I'm Scott Gladstein, and here with me as always is...
Mike Myler. Hi, everybody. How you doing?
And today, we have a wonderful guest, and I'll let him introduce himself. So, who is this mysterious man?
Well, this mysterious man with the incredibly fake-sounding name is John Kennedy. How you doing?
John Kennedy, I thought you were dead.
I get that a lot.
I'm sure you get bullets a lot. So anyway, John, welcome to the show. Do you want to give us some of your background, who you are, why they should care? Because let me tell you, you guys should care.
Well, apart from what you've read about me in the history books, I'm a tabletop game designer. I've been in the industry about 11 years now. I started when I was going to Purdue University, go Boilermakers. And then I've always loved role-playing games, and it was one of those few activities that my mom was actually incredibly excited that I took up.
Wow.
Because
really?
she's like, wait.
That's rare.
Yeah. She was more along the lines of, wait, you want to go out and interact with kids your own age? No, I'm for it. What do you need? You need dice? Okay, we'll get you dice.
That's cool.
But,
Owen's mom was apparently very cool that way. She ran his first couple D&D games and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know, right? I can't even imagine. My mom had a red box, but it got destroyed and lost and stuff. And I haven't gotten to play with her yet. Play D&D.
Oh,
someday. We let's say my mom was like, "Oh, that's nice. Go do it. I'll make you some brisket. It'll be great."
Oh no, I got in trouble for doing it because at first they were like, "Okay, cool, whatever, stay after school," and then it became Sunday. I'd leave at noon, and I'd sneak into the house at 4 a.m, and they'd lose their shit because we just played a really long game, and it would go 12, 13, 14 hours. And, we're all having a good time, and Chris is ready to keep running. So yeah, I got dragged out of there a couple times.
We
That happened to me from college, actually. I actually met my mom after a marathon D&D session. She came in for early morning brunch, and she noticed that I looked really tired. And she's like, "Why are you so exhausted?" "Oh, I just came from the student union." And I tried to pass it off that I was doing a term paper or something, but she kept asking me all these questions about my paper that I was unable to answer. My mom's a teacher. So she was sort of that doesn't sound like a history paper. That eventually was "Yeah, we were fighting an eldar, gargantuan black dragon, and we killed it." But she was totally unimpressed. Totally unimpressed.
Yes.
We were pretty impressed with ourselves.
So mine started by a friend of mine. I had read 3.5 in elementary school or middle school or first or middle school, and my friend was like, "Hey, we're going on a camping trip, and I've never played D&D. Do you want to run something?" I don't, and I was just I could make a game from scratch, I guess. And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So we literally took pieces of roll-up tinfoil paper, and that was the first game we ever played. It was broke as all get out.
Yeah.
And then we eventually we kept refining it in-house for years, and eventually we had 12 players coming over every Thursday. And yes, we still use the tinfoil things because people just like the tinfoil things for a while. I don't know why. They were just really into the tinfoil balls.
Chris had the garage, and there was a pool table we used to play pool on, but became the terrain table.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was just devoted to the game, and we had 8 people, and it was amazing just watch them run because we were. I mean, generally people were in the game the whole time, and it's really difficult even now with 4 or 5 people. I don't know how you did it with 8.
Let's say I miss the all right, guys, it's Friday night. We finished up our classes.
Yeah.
We're in the dorms. All right, guys, we're not getting out of here till Sunday, and we're let's do it.
Yeah.
And we'd literally go for until everyone, but it would be me and the GM be "All right, guys, roll the dice." And he's like, "I think we have to go to sleep." I'm like, "Nah, man, I want one more turn." And
that's how the monofilament happened.
Yeah, then we do it that would be every Friday, man. We would go do 2-3 games a week, try a new system. Oh, it was gross.
Mm-hmm.
It was wonderful, but gross. I ate so much quick trip food.
Yeah, it's harder as adults.
Oh yeah.
Next weekend, Steph is going out of town, so I invited a bunch of people to the house, and she was like, "What are you doing inviting 13 people here? I told you could have 4 or 5 people over." And I was like, do you really think that 13 people are going to be available for 12 hours on Saturday to play a game? That's not what's going to happen. It's going to be maybe 3 or 4 people. I'm lucky.
I do nowadays what we call the Pathfinder potluck, but it's a Pathfinder.
Oh yeah,
it's something Pathfinder potlucks. We rhyme it. We get a lot of alliteration out of it, and we go all night, and it's great. But I think our neighbors got really pissed at us last time because 2 a.m. Yeah, and everyone just like so people got really pissed at us. Oh, Pathfinder pasta potluck. I make all the pasta, and they got a little pissed at us last time, and we kind of moved it to a different person's house. So at some point we're gonna do it again. Oh, maybe that's what I'll do for my birthday this month. I'm trying to figure out what we're doing, and that might be what we do. We just piss off them and be like, "It's his birthday. Shut up." But
all right. Well, for folks tuning in for the first time, we do a formatted show that normally opens up the review. This week would be something different. Then we talk about favorite character we're playing or character lesson that we've learned through role-playing. Then we talk about projects that we're working on, projects that we're not working on that are coming out or have just come out. Then we do D&D 5e news, Pathfinder, Starfinder news, then D&D 5e news, then other RPG news, then like other media. Then we do Kickstarters, and then whatever John wants to talk about. And today, we're going to be doing something special that I want to do every week, hopefully. We're going to play Munchausen and have Savannah Broadway join us for fourth player. So if you never played Baron Munchausen, or if you're a fan of storytelling, stick around for that. It should be about 8:30-ish.
Eastern time, and I am a little sick today. I will be joining, but I will not be drinking. But I will be there, because you want this.
And like I said, this week we're not doing a review because Christina didn't get us something in time. So I do actually, because we got cut off last time, her laptop died.
Yeah, her laptop.
I had a bunch of questions about her class, because she is a professor at Winthrop University, and she taught a class called RPing 311, Writing Narrative for Tabletop Role-Playing Games, where her students actually like put together like a full tabletop role-playing game book, including like a small campaign setting and an adventure. It's called Ravensburg, which is just freaking awesome. What do you think about that, John? Were you aware that she did this? Is this in the know?
No, but that sounds amazing. Like when I went to school, I had to take classes like Psych 101. I got to take up normal Psych, which was pretty cool. Yeah. But there were always those courses that you could never fit into your course load. That was like, oh man, what's this history or English of science fiction and fantasy? And you would argue with your career advisor for hours, being like, no, I need this to graduate. And they'd be like, no, you don't need this to graduate.
See, I got stuff. I got a course on science fiction literature, and it was also video. So like, I actually for one assignment had to watch an episode of Doctor Who. It was pretty cool. But I took an entire course on Tolkien from an English literature professor, and she was really into it. So we actually get to discuss different themes and stuff and that, and actually go into his background and whatever. I got to do a whole paper on the sexual dimorphism within Tolkien, talking about how elves and dwarves represented masculine and femininity within a context of a postmodern world. And yes, I wrote this term paper. It was a thing.
The capstone paper for my entire academic career, which was only 3 years, because I had finished a whole year before I went in, because I didn't want to spend a ton of money, because I went for film studies and I knew pretty early that I wasn't going to work in the film industry. But the title of it was Pulp Fiction Americana shot through what was it? Oh no, I can't remember the title. Son of a bitch! I'm like, that was your big favorite. But it was all about how Pulp Fiction was a French New Wave film.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, and that wasn't the paper I cared about. The paper I cared about was in the film comedy class, and it was basically about how South Park was a form of hyper satire, and how you can read animated series and their popularity and prevalence throughout history. And if you obviously you have to switch mediums, animated series, right? But that you can measure that is a measure of the discontent that a public has with itself.
Interesting.
And first you have The Simpsons, right? And that's this isn't the place for it, but I'm totally fucking right. I saw somebody got to do this as their thing, which pissed me off. But the whole article, which was incredibly popular, was exactly my thesis. I was like, son of a bitch. But
All right, so Mike, instead of a product review, what are you doing this week?
I asked her a bunch of questions.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was giving you a lead in there.
So she teaches at Winthrop University, which is in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And again, her name is Christina Stiles. Her publishing outfit is Misfit Studios, I believe. Is that right?
I think so.
The first semester she had, because she's run this twice now, 16 students, 3 of which who opted out. And in the newer one, she's got 19 students, 1 of which had to drop. The student who won the proposal vote, they voted to decide who was going to be doing what. Like, they did pitches that were voted on the remainder of the project's patrons. The winning pitch moved forward. And just in case, because she kind of knew that everyone would vote for their own proposal, she had everybody vote twice. And it came down to a tie, which she had a freelancer friend who works at the university break it in like a blind look at the proposals. All told, they wrote 44,000 words together,
Fantastic.
which comprised the mini setting and the adventure. Yeah, that's a lot. And they've got a student artist named Joshua Hollis, who since graduated, but he handled a lot of the art stuff. So what else? What else can we say about this? Each one had to write something like 5,000 words, like only 3,000 or so per for the actual project, but 5,000 words for additional like examinations and peer interview. So that's the minimum they had to do for like the freshman writing 101 course. I thought that was low. I asked her, I was like, that seems like 3,000 words. Like I actually never took any creative writing courses, so I am a poor measure of it. But I remember people complaining about doing much more than 3,000 or 5,000 words for their classes, you know?
Let's say 3,000 words is a evening for me.
Yeah, like that's the minimum standard for Paizo designers. They're expected to produce about 3,000 words a day.
I do.
Wow.
Let's say I have done creative writing classes. Those were cool. We actually at one point moved our creative writing classes out to a local like coffee and tea house where they just let us set up. It was great.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm sure they're fine. It's just not. I don't know. I'm a weirdo loner asshole. Okay, so I asked if she had to submit it multiple times before they greenlit it, and she said no, only one time, actually.
Very cool.
They were looking for another creative writing option, and the curriculum committee approved it. They haven't shown any greater interest, so like there's no like demand at the university to make like a game designer course set.
Please no. As someone who did that, please no.
I don't know, man. Like
I learned a lot from my undergrad in it, and I could run a rapid prototyping class, and I would love it.
No, I mean like a narrative game design course.
No, I get it.
Like,
I get it. But the thing is, though,
you could do it at like Ithaca or one of those places.
You don't need it. You don't need it. You just need to go write. You need some basic.
Yeah,
creative
honestly, it would be
classes,
better
and
if you
that's
just
about
went and did it.
You need to go ahead and make. You need to go release 20 things and go and get that ugly feedback. That's what you need to do.
Well, I mean, if it had existed before, I would have thought to do this before my wife told me to. You know, like I would have started when John started earlier. Actually, I would have started the freshman year of my college, right? So on the one hand, I can see how that's kind of cool and sort of an eventual probability, but
like I said, I lived that for 4 years. It's not as good as it should be. Even the good game design programs are debatable.
And the industry ceiling is pretty low.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you're not going to be living on the street, but if you're working at like a top game design company, you're looking at probably capping out somewhere in the 60, 70K range.
If you're really lucky, and if you're in really
maybe
high
more
demand.
if you lead.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like after you've been in the biz for like 30 years, working in an office,
that's where it ends. You
that's
move to a
something.
Production role, which is good.
And my dad's an electrician; he pulls in more than that.
That's it. You can get into a production role, and you'll get a little bit more than that, but still, even a lead designer in a big AAA studio is not getting much. And it is such a fierce competition that, again, I've worked on some projects in that industry. It is an ugly industry, man. I would not recommend jumping into it. I would recommend saving your money, working a 9 to 5 for a while, and producing some stuff, and then if it catches on, then go that direction, but not a moment before.
Anyway, I also asked... Sorry, what?
It can be pretty brutal.
Yeah. Yep. I asked if it was like pass, fail, or graded, and she said it was graded. They student could use one of their 4 SU options on it. I have no idea what a S/U option is. To take the class that way. I guess that means pass-fail, right?
Mm-hmm.
A few of them did. She used the English Department's regular rubric for writing quality to determine grades. Show clear activity, clear and concise writing, and evidence of editing. They are getting paid for their writing.
Cool.
So that's awesome, right? I like that part. Yeah. And one of them at least is going to self-publish on DM's Guild.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, most of that's awesome.
Yeah. Sorry, he's going to go to DM's Guild for reasons we'll touch upon later. But I asked what kind of books were in the curriculum. She said first class is Pathfinder Core, and then some sample Kobold Press materials, which she got permission from Wolfgang to distribute. And then they need a samples note they were writing. Since they had no gaming experience. Many of them who had never actually seen a gaming supplement and understand what they are. Yeah. So then this past semester, it was the 5e PHP and the Midgard campaign setting, and then the Kobold game Guide to Game Design as the textbooks.
I was actually going to say that would be the one I would suggest.
Yeah. That would be the obvious choice, yeah.
I really like the Kobold Press.
I'd probably make him read the history of the game, the one that came out, was it last year or the year before? About the history of, like, not just, it wasn't just D&D, it was like all tabletop role-playing games. It won a couple Ennies, didn't it?
Oh, Designing and Dragons?
I think that might have been, yeah, Designing and Dragons, yeah.
Man, we should
That's
write
right,
one of those
that's,
books someday.
That's a 4-volume set.
Oh my god.
Jesus, I didn't know it was that big. Good lord. Maybe not the whole thing then.
Well, it covers like 1970s,
Yeah.
and it talks about like chainmail and all the things that started it.
Yeah, I
It
would
talks
probably
a lot about war.
start there. I'd want them to know like the history and genesis of tabletop role-playing games. The rest of it, I'm sure, is very interesting and valuable, but not essential as.
So we were talking about papers we've written. At one point I wrote the history of tabletop games, starting all the way back at Little Wars by H.G. Wells, which is widely considered to be the first tabletop army game. Yes, it is that H.G. Wells, too. It's kind of cool.
We hope that that world nations would actually use that to fight real wars.
Yeah.
He was really hoping to catch on, and it didn't, sadly. But
that was my basis, by the way. That was one of the major inspirations for when we released that game, Free Wars, Little Wars.
That's kind of how international geopolitics is played on a higher level. It's all like by simulation. Like, if we did this and they did this and this happened and that happened, and then do we nuke? Okay, send in the troops or don't. Like,
it's kind of like Robot Jocks, if you think about it, where it's sort of like, how do we settle this fighting over oil off of Alaska? All right, we're gonna play Warhammer. We're gonna play Warhammer Classic. Let's say 7th edition. I'm gonna bring chaos. You can bring whatever you want.
yeah.
I'm gonna break out whatever hasn't been updated the most recently. Let's see. But no, that's just fascinating to me. That he had that. He was a really interesting guy when he looks at what he put out. I really dug his mindset for a lot of things. A lot of it didn't come to pass, but it was kind of a really cool utopian future he had in mind.
What's more peaceful than instead of actually getting 10,000 of your countrymen and sending them off to possibly die, than getting 10,000 of your countrymen together for beer and pretzels? You're like, all right, this weekend we beat Germany. All right, we know the strategies, we know what's going on. We're gonna win it this time.
And you better bring your dice blocks, Raoul. I know you have them. You keep forgetting them. We're not letting you borrow this time.
I can't believe we lost to Al Qaeda. Al Qaeda mained Hamza. We can't really do anything.
So, is there anything else from Christina?
Yeah, I asked if she reached out to Paths or WotC. She said she hadn't yet, and then I asked what could be done to spread it around to other colleges. She said that's feasible. She doesn't have any background in how exactly to go about it. She's actually still learning how to be a professor, and she's only got her master's, I think, or some such like that.
Yeah, only her master's.
Yeah.
So I actually approached I'm talking with my college right now about possibly teaching. I'm also going to be teaching one of their fencing. I'm going to be teaching their rapier class.
Nice.
but
Very cool.
debatably it's up in the air. But I'm also going to be like, yeah, and I do work in this industry. Do you want to pay me to maybe do this? I got to see if it's worth my time to actually do it, or if it's just going to be a, here, put 400 hours into this and get paid minimum wage. I'm not sure if I want to go that far.
Yeah, I got a buddy who he's actually got a sweet gig. He's at Mount Sinai he's working on his PhD in brain science, and Mount Sinai is distinguished in that they pay the most of any college to their PhD students. And Benji is a very thrifty gentleman, so he's been making bank up in New York City, and he's like just trying to drag out the program like as long as he possibly can.
Yeah, Mount Sinai is actually. Oh, hey Kirk, my dog's back there. Hey, buddy. Mount Sinai is actually a really great place. My
no, it's a solid college.
Actually, in their neuro is the head of their neuroscience department, so.
It probably runs into Benji from time to time.
Well, no, she's actually in the Mount Sinai Hospital, which is affiliated with.
Oh, well, I know they give him access to an MRI machine because his apartment is like literally like a serial killer, covered in like graphs of his own brain, because he just like puts himself in it to scan as often as he possibly can, like whatever reason he could come up with. Yeah.
All right. So
yeah, but normally we would do a product review. Instead, we were talking about that. And if you have any questions for Christina about her class, I'm happy to relay them. I'm going to send some more eventually because I do have more questions about it. Just let us know in the Twitch or on the YouTube or what have you.
So the next part is favorite character or...
favorite character game currently in or character lesson.
Yeah. Like I said, I actually got one today. Unless you want to go first.
You can go first, and then I'll just pick up afterwards.
Mike, did I tell the 40k one in the Apocalypse game?
I don't
with the
recall.
orcs. I think I'll talk about that one. This is an interesting lesson in game design. So back when they were running the Lucky 13th campaign, seasonal campaign for Warhammer 40k, we were playing. The battle was 40k Apocalypse. There was some ridiculous number of points. It was like 8,000 points or something ridiculous. It was, and there were like 20 people in a game store down in Tempe. It was hot. People were stinky. It was great. So we learned a lesson there that day that not all games are not all game modes are balanced. There is definitely an ivory tower path, an ivory tower kind of critical path thing going on there. For you guys who don't know, Warhammer 40k is a tabletop army game, and Apocalypse is their like epic level version of it, where you can get like giant, big models like this big in the game, and big giant war machines, things that are worth absurd amounts of points because you build your army out of points. And it was orcs versus everybody, orcs and chaos versus everybody else basically. I think they had a Tau ally, or I don't remember. They had one thing on their side. Oh, I think it was Orcs, Tyranids, and Chaos verse. And, so I roll in playing Eldar. Now, the Eldar at the time had a unit called a Viper, I believe it was. Is it the Viper or Scorpion? It's their super heavy tank.
The big bike with the big shuriken launcher on the back?
No, it's their basically like super fire. It's like their super fire prism. Their super heavy tank.
Oh yeah, that is Scorpion.
Okay, so the Scorpion is, they didn't have a model for it from Forge World yet. But they had put out Imperial Armory, which is their books that the stats of them are released in. So I had to home build a Scorpion. So I took a old Wave Serpent, gave it a second set of wings, painted it all crazy. Actually got had a big, it's called D Cannon. Actually bought the heavy weapons team with the D Cannon, put it on top. It looked really big and fancy. It was really cool. So I had that, a Farseer, and a bunch of Fire Prisms. Fire Prisms, if you don't know, are they're flying tanks, and they can link up together these crystals and put down giant plates of just death. Area of effect death, basically. So, across the table from me is a guy who's playing Orcs. This guy's painted his units beautifully. He's playing the Green Wave, a WOG unit army that's literally like this thick, probably like you carry him in with a pizza plate. How many units he had? It was absurd. He had something like 400 or 500 units on the table, and he was so proud of his army. And turn 1, he rolls up, and I'm on top of a hill. Now, in Apocalypse, they have things that I like to call dinner plates. They are templates that are about the size of the army he brought. And I had a perfect shot to him. And there's something called D-damage. D-damage is instant kill unless you have some kind of invulnerability thing. So I carefully, turn 1, walked over to his side of the table, went, "I'm really sorry, man," and I placed the table over his entire army. This poor guy was like, "Are you kidding me?" "Well, I still have a chance for it to miss or go but roll." "No, I'm good." And he had to literally, after putting him out, show up, setting up, doing like an hour's worth of thing, remove 85% of his army and 2 unfortunate Tau Fire Warriors. One of his units survived, because it had some, like, piece of thing, but this guy's face went from 2 and turn 1, and then I hit the rest of his units with my fire prisms, and he was just like, "I never want to play this game again." I'm like, "I'm sorry, dude. There are no other targets for me to hit. It's turn 1. I'm super heavy tank man with plates. That's my strategy. I'm really sorry." So the gaming lesson is from this is that's not fun for him. That was not fun at all for him. And I felt really bad about it. Everybody laughed their asses off because if turn 2 had happened, he would have killed me. He would have wiped me out. But that wasn't fun for either of us, actually. I mean, I still got to walk off going, "I killed this many units." But from a game design, from a running the table perspective, the person running the table should have gone, "All right, can we not put you next to them?" And I would have been fine with that. I know some people are really hardcore about their like, "Well, I want to make sure I win the." I'm like, I want to have fun. I want to see the crazy stuff. I want to have a void grenade jump right next to my Farseer and miss it by an inch and jump back and hit the guys who threw it and like stuff like that. Like that's fun for me. But that wasn't fun for him. That wasn't fun for anyone. I still get to tell the story about I think we counted. I took out like 200 something in like one turn. It was great. It was also really miserable for the player. So that is the story of me dropping plates on their ass. So, John, you got something?
Yeah, kind of like sort of like that, where we're pretty much as you run the character, you kind of feel regret afterwards.
Yeah.
We were playing a game of World of Darkness. This was about a couple years ago. You kind of feel regret afterwards. And we decided to play Sabbat just because there were a couple of newer players. They really wanted to play it. And when you get into Vampire, some of the things that really interest people are, well, I want to play the Vampire. I want to play, the Assassin Vampire, or I'm the cool serial killer vampire. And it's like, okay, whatever. We all cut our teeth, on something. I was one of the few veterans at the table, so I knew the system and I knew how things worked. And we ended up doing, we had to do this contest for the local bishop. And the bishops are vampires in the Sabbat who sort of run things. So part of our contest was we had to hunt down a vampire across the city, and we had to return because that was supposed to be the prize. Now, the other players all, they had spent all their points on cars, and they'd spent all their points on, machine guns and katanas. Yes, literally katanas. And it's like, I remember that phase, too. I mean, hey, they were having fun. But I came up with my own plan, and I agreed to team up with one of the other players who had made, a brother vampire with one of the others. So they go out, and they're talking with the ST, and they're just racing across the map, and they're, explosions and Camarilla ghouls fighting them, and they're having a big underworld fight scene.
Nice.
So it comes back to me, and he says, "Okay, that took them an hour. What are you guys doing in the hour?" And essentially, I just looked and said, "Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I look the other character in the eyes. Here's how we're going to beat them." Then I pulled out a stake and I rammed it through his chest. And then when they were coming back with the prize, I made the strength checks, by the way. When they were coming back with the prize, I met them halfway, and I'm holding that character hostage with a knife through his throat, and I had done enough damage to take him down nearly all the way to Torb. And so I'm like, no, here's what we're going to do. You're going to give me the prize, and you're going to get your brother back, and I'm going to win the contest. Both players were just so unbelievably angry about it, And it was sort of like, what? No, this is Sabbat. We're evil vampires. I'm like, I didn't think we were that evil. It's like, you were all about killing humans like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Murder, 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 murder. Oh, wait, not that evil.
And I met afterwards because I heard them complaining about it, and they were younger people. And when I overheard one of them saying, I don't really want to play again, part of me was like, okay, I went too far. Because, you know, like you said, it was all about having fun. And that while it does give me like a memorable moment, it also gives me a memorable moment of me being, you know, just be blunt, like a dick. And it may have actually caused this guy to go, man, I liked gaming, but I didn't like that. Nah, I'm going to go back to watch the TV, you know, on a Friday night. Let's bring back TGIF. And I was happy to learn later on that the guy joined DR, Dystopia Rising. So he still kept with gaming. So that's really cool.
That's good.
But I don't think he'll ever play with me again. Or if he does, he will try to kill me. The epilogue to that story was, I died so horribly.
How'd that happen?
Well, they we did the exchange. I got back there. I actually had tricked them because I had also claimed I put like C4 on the guy. The C4 literally turned out to be a box of clay and a
That's
so
awesome.
I win the prize. I get all the awards, and then literally as we leave the Haven, maybe we walk like just down the street, and they're both like, "Yeah, I pull my double eagles on him." The other guy's like, "Yeah, I'm popping claws. I'm attacking him right here." It's like, "Oh, but you're in the middle of the street. People are watching." Yeah, they're gonna watch us kill him.
They're gonna watch, and they're gonna know fear.
yeah. There's no escape for me. I fought back. I did some damage, but no, they destroyed me.
So here's the thing that always interests me, is how games handle party composition. It's like, a lot of games you have all right, I'm gonna be the face, you be the skill monkey, you be the beaten stick, you be the other beaten stick, and you be the healer. But some systems are just like, yeah, you do what you want. You kind of take your own approach to things, and you can be really combat oriented, or you can be really skill. But they don't really expect you to kind of mix that. They're just like, do what you want. Like Mutants and Masterminds is much more like that. Savage Worlds is much more like that. But like D&D and D20 is much more find your niche and go play in it. And that's unfortunate when the social character goes up against the martial character in a game that's very like a tactics simulator. You're like, all right, I make a diplomacy. He cuts off your head.
Yeah.
Cool, thanks. You know, what options do you have? I can die like a little wuss, or I can run away like a little wuss. But
I tried to use diplomacy in an L5R D20 game. This was a long time ago when they did D20. You know, otherwise known as the edition that never happened.
yep.
But I played a courier. I played a Tortoise Clan courier, and we ended up getting in combat. And the guy running the game was running more similar to traditional D&D.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like this big ogre with like a giant Tetsubo. And I looked at my stats, and I was sort of like, oh, I have a sword, but I only have like a +1 to hit at all. And so I tried to do a diplomacy check just to try to convince him not to hit me, and I succeeded. And so I stopped him for one turn, and then the next turn I failed, and he's like, no, your convincing argument fails to make the ogre stop hitting you. So he hits you once, takes 16 points of damage. That was almost twice my health. Yeah, I'm gone. That was a splat.
That's the I'm a paste spread across the ground as if by a knife dragging butter across bread.
Yeah. I was trying to do this convincing argument about how the ogre should actually fight for us. It just that second turn, my convincing argument apparently turned into, but my face is pretty hittable. I agree. You have a hittable face.
So that's the problem with social things in a system like that, where it's not like it's a tactics simulator, but you also have social on the side. The problem is social either becomes OP as hell. You can just be, I can convince you of this blatant lie, you know, or just it's a non-factor, you know what I mean? It's an after the fact, or how you avoid combat, you know what I mean? Which in a tactics simulator, you're rewarded for partaking in combat. So a good GM, though, I always feel like, will still reward players for overcoming an encounter, is how I always describe it.
How many like fights have you guys been in, like in real life? Because I can tell you from a personal experience, the diplomacy checks during fight are very, very difficult in real life.
So here, when I've been in fights, they've ended up with, okay, it's the occasional, random shot that comes at you. But a lot of them end with, all right, man, stop, lay off. You know what I mean? Like that. And that's not really diplomacy, but that's also all right, you worked out your system, get the hell out of here,
That's fights I've been in. Fights I've been had to get broken up, man. Like, yeah. Restraining occurs.
But
yeah,
anyway.
I've never actually been successful in convincing someone to, like in middle school, from hey, can you mind not throwing this table at me? You're gonna throw your back out, and then your back health is more important.
So I can actually tell you guys a time when I rolled a 1 then a 20 on the diplomacy check in real life. It's like 3 a.m. We're at myself and 2 of my friends are at Carl's Jr. in this really not nice part of town, and this guy behind us is like 280, 300, big heavyset dude, tattoos everywhere, a little tear tattoo here, shaved head, and he is tweaking on something. And he decides to sit down at our little 4-square table, like right next to us, like this. And we're just sitting there like, hey buddy, what's up? I mean, do you want to... It's a free country, I can sit here. And we're just like, all right. Well, we started talking for a few minutes, and he's like, I kill people. And we're like, okay. And he's like, can you move? We're having a business discussion. He's like, no, we gotta. It's a free country. I'm like, oh, it's a free country. We're gonna move over here. And he starts eyeing the other people in the place. And so I go back over, and he's talking to like some of the younger girls who are there, and I walk over, this old couple, and I'm like, hey, I'm Scott. How are you? Yada yada. I'm talking, trying to be the bard. I'm trying to talk. And after about a minute of talking, I go, so what do you do for a living? And I'm a student. What do you do for a living? And he goes, I kill people. Like, all right. And he starts talking really like anxiously, and finally I get up to the point, all right, well, it's a pleasure talking to you. And he goes, pick one of your friends. I'm gonna kill them as soon as you walk outside. I'm like, I rolled a 1. Great. So we go over to the table I'm sitting at. And I go, guys, hi. So he's gonna kill one of you guys. Good news. And they're like, what did you tell him? I'm like, I don't know. I tried not to. So I see him walking over to the table, and it's actually this weird, like, it's one of those like plastic seat ones, but it was near the end, so there was actually only 1 seat on one side and 2 on the other, and I was on the one side, so he kind of boxes me in. But as soon as he walks over, I had already gone like this, and I dialed up on my phone 911. And and as soon as he walks over, I press speaker, and I go, and he's like, all right, which one is it? Which one do you want to kill? I'm like, look, man, I already called 911. You have the option of getting out of here ahead of time, and they probably won't catch you. Hello, this is 911. Please state the nature of your emergency. And he's like, you called him? I'm like, yeah, right here. And I hold it up, and he's like, all right, I'll see you guys outside. And he leaves, and I'm like, nat 20! So we didn't die that night. That was great.
But was he waiting for you outside?
He said, no, he was not waiting for me outside.
Yeah.
But we did not go outside to check. Hey, I got free food out of that one. Because the people were like, thank you. We were pretty sure he was going to kill someone. We're like, yeah, it was going to be us. Thanks. I get my
He was just really proud of what he does for a living. I mean,
I guess.
I work in, I'm a writer every 5 minutes, so...
Hey, guys, did you know I murder people? Yeah, man. I work at like I write. Awesome, man. High five. Let's go celebrate our positive identities in life. I like this.
And then I go for the high five, and it's actually a knife he's jammed into my hand, and it's like,
Oh, when he walked up to us, one of our friends was a blonde, and he just goes, Hitler. And we're like, great. This is going to be an engaging conversation. So, Mike, what do you got?
Well, I want to say that GKG Allen has joined us. And
welcome.
John knows him somehow. So,
yeah,
thank you.
my friend Alan.
Hey, Alan. You asked me to talk about Papias and the Conan role-playing game.
Yeah, because he did a good review on his Facebook about it. I'm like, man, that's something we should talk about on the show.
Yeah, so I'll put the link in the YouTube description, but I played one shot, and ultimately I don't think it's a system for me for a couple of reasons. But like on the whole, it was solid, and it felt not unlike the Conan movies, the originals, not the like newer Conan, which is a little bit off.
Yeah.
Off key, I thought. I don't know. But quick rundown of what I thought was erroneous. There are 6 kinds of hit points, and that just feels
Ugh.
silly to me. Like, why do you need 6 kinds of hit points? I by the time I wrote the review, I'd even forgotten what one of the kinds of hit points was. It was like mental hit points, mental wounds, fear hit points, physical hit points, physical wounds, and then some other kind of hit point. And like, why? That's so many hit points. Like, what's the point? Like, I know that you have to make combat very interesting because magic is not going to be a focus of the Conan game, right? Barbarians and each other swords, but yeah, not for me. And then it had a volleying dice mechanic, like the force die in Edge of the Empire, called here it was Momentum and Doom. So the whole system is based around 2d20, right? You want to roll a 1, you want to roll low. Whenever you roll a 20, you get a complication. Much like, whenever you roll a complication in the narrative dice game, like the Edge of the Empire Fate. So you can succeed and suffer a complication, you can fail and suffer a complication. You can do either without suffering complication, but you end up doing a lot of rolls. So on average, in 1 minute of combat, each round I would have a 50% rolling of chance of rolling 1 complication, because I'm going to roll 3 times or twice to attack and then 3 times to defend, and each time I'm going to be rolling at least 2d20. So each one has like a 10% chance. So you're likely to get a ton of complications. And like you can also buy complications, so like to add extra dice to a roll, up to you can roll up to 5d20 at once. You spend a momentum. Whenever you spend a momentum, the GM gets a doom point, and then they try to save up the doom points for the final boss battle, and then they like ramp up and use its abilities. And the only way that a monster can start first in a round of combat is if you spend doom for them to start first. So, yeah, I don't know. I just find those to become adversarial relationships, and when there's always a chance that I'm going to suffer, even when I succeed, I don't want to roll if I can avoid rolling. It just gets me like I decided that the next time I play in a Ravenloft for 5e, I'm just going to include complications like that, where like every time you roll, there's a chance that you're just going to get screwed because it's Ravenloft, and that like because the fear I feel as a player doing that is way more than anything I got from playing in Ravenloft. So like perfect fit.
And then that's the aesthetic for Ravenloft is
that's what I'm saying. Like
you're supposed to have that. Oh God, I did the thing. Duck and cover. And
I've been assured by other people that like as you get up in character levels, there are ways to avoid complications and stuff. But like I don't know, as a basis, it was rough for the one shot like free RPG day game that was run that I was in. What else?
No, there was another game that was like that, where I want to say it's like Cortex system, where after a certain point, there's so many complications in a scene that if you can avoid making any kind of rolls or adding any more complications, then that's the way to go. Because at the very beginning, you want to hit things hard and fast, but as it goes on, the scene it just get haywire. I was in a gunfight that lasted for like 7 rounds, and then by the end of it, there's no way I can win. There's so many complications on the board right now. I all of it's stuff I started, as it turns out. Like,
as an option, like I enjoy the fact that there is a risk associated with it, but I feel like I should be able to participate that or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I just want to fail or succeed and like just let that be it.
Mm-hmm.
Having it always be present definitely wigs me out way hard. Yeah. I mean, like it really felt like they were pushing hard to make combat feel involved, and it did. You will be entertained just swinging a sword and stuff. You don't just like because with D&D and other Vancian spellcasting systems, it often feels that way. Like you just get overshadowed by the mage pretty quickly. I don't think that's going to happen playing combat. I don't know. I'm glad that people dig it. Just it wasn't my bag, I don't think. And I'd house rule a lot of stuff if I were to play it again.
So next up we got let's see.
Favorite working projects.
Yeah, Mike. Looks like you got something here. What do you want?
Yeah, I finished that the Ponyfinder edit, which is great. It's going to be called, unless they change it, it's going to be called Tactics of Everglow. It was like 90,000 words or something.
Only? Oh my god.
Yeah, and I really need to talk to him about getting a style guide or something, because it was like invisible tables.
Ugh.
I could go on and on. I spent 3 days just formatting all the text to be like the right size and stuff. So, But it's over, and I'm really pleased because I lost my momentum about halfway through.
Yep.
So because July 4th, and I hadn't considered. Every time Stephanie has the day off, I basically only get like 6 hours of work done after she goes to bed. So
I know how that is.
yeah, I love her, but I need to do things.
I'd say my wife is off work for. She's a teacher. She's off for a few months, and I realize my work goes like from here to like here when she's in the room. But she is awesome, and she sits in the other room and lets
you want to spend time and stuff, and it's really hard to say no.
Yep.
It's really hard to say no. And then you feel guilty for saying no. It's terrible. But the book itself is cool. There was a lot of cool stuff in it. There was like it wasn't such a central focus on ponies this time, which I found refreshing and enjoyable. Big Mao was one of their races, so there's like a bear race, basically like Berenstein bears. I know that they might be upset for me making that comparison, but that's the only thing I could think of every time I was reading about the Big Mao. I was just thinking like Berenstein bears rolling around. And yeah, it was like all the countries and nations that are not the like pony finder centric place.
That's kind
or
of cool.
the human place. Yeah, no, it was a cool expansion. And what was it? Oh, the thing that stuck out was the Elementalist, which is as it sounds, right? You summon like elementals, and in the 5e version, it was innovative because there's nothing quite like that in the 5e version. You know, like there's a summoner, right, in Pathfinder, but for 5e, no equivalent. And they some of it was whack, but I think what the final product will be solid, and a lot of the ideas in there were really good too. So I'm looking forward to that. And I know I'm sure all the Pony Finder people will rave and lose their shit over it. It's a good book.
So John, what do you got for us?
Well, we just wrapped up a lot of work on the Infinity Core book, which has been taking a while, but I'm pretty pleased with it. Yeah, you've been working on that for about a year and a half now.
Oh wow!
That's with Modiphius. It's based off the miniature game, Infinity, the miniature game, which is pretty cool. And no, that's been taking a lot of my time because that was a hefty chunk. But it's pretty cool. I got to write the Ariadna faction, which Ariadna is like 21st century Earth in this far future.
Okay.
And it's got werewolves, and it's got this faction of super Americans, is how I could describe it. They're literally called U.S. Ariadna, and they are in the far future. They are the most American of all Americans.
America.
But they were a blast, especially since there's like they have a town of Deadwood, which has become their version of like American like culturalism. So people walk around Deadwood with 6-shooters and wearing Stetsons, whereas people from like neighboring provinces walk in like relatively they're 22nd, 23rd century clothing. Like, what's going on? This is so weird. They're like, well, howdy, Pilgrim. How you doing? Who are you?
Stop it! No, stop it!
But no, I've got a lot of things on my plate at the moment. A lot of it pretty cool. Other things I just wrapped up. Empire's Reign with Third Eye Games. That's where we finally get to the source book I've been wanting to do for years, which we did the Empire, like the factions of the Empire itself.
Nice.
And I think it was really cool. I got to bring out my beloved Golden Lions, which if you ever want like a color palette to know where I've been in the game universe, look for black and gold. It tends to be my MO, oddly enough, like my favorite color combo. But yeah, that was a blast too.
I just wrote a faction for this project I can't talk about that is pink and gold, and it is wonderful. It's like hot pink and gold.
I like it.
And it fits their personality. It involves gnomes, so
nice. And then I've got a project I can't talk about too, but it's coming up soon. I'm actually working on it with my friend Alan Bear. We were hoping to announce it at Gen Con, but unfortunately, we lost Stuart Wyatt, who was really big and influential on the project and helping us. And very, very unexpected and very, very tragic. But no, that project will come out just later. But losing Stuart was a big loss for both of us. And like I said, so unexpected. And I know there were just so many people who were so broken up over it.
Yeah, it's always sad when that happens.
Mhm.
It was around this time last year that Steve.
Yeah. I was
Steve
just thinking about that.
Alan wanted to point out that the H in his name is silent. It's Alan Barr.
Ah.
Yeah. You know, you've also heard me say, like, Eloy the Santa. And he'll listen to this later and go, it's a lie.
So,
You've known me 8 years.
So
I'm sorry, Alan.
So what I got on my plate, I actually had a really, really cool discussion, thanks to James Gray, with a very large company that holds a very important license, and we got the, yeah, that's really cool, send us something. And I'm like, well, I can do an RPG adaptation of that. Okay. So I've been working on that frantically, and we're gonna have a big meeting this Sunday with all hands on deck for it. I can't say what it is, but it's something that you've seen, every one of you. And if we get the license, there will be a Kickstarter in 2 months, man, I swear. But
you got the license for the NFL role-playing.
Yes. And I will be including NFL Superpro, the greatest Marvel character that you've never heard of.
Yes, I love Superpro.
So
my mom, for some reason, tried to get me into sports when I was a kid. And she's like, look, honey, it's a sports league superhero. And I'm like, yay, great. And she kept bringing me the issues. And I'm like, oh, man, who's this guy he's fighting? There's exploding footballs? Yeah, that's cool, Mom. That's cool.
So if you guys don't know who NFL Superpro was, a short summary is he is like the most American ever. He'd fit right in your setting. He was given experimental football armor, and he runs around saving the day. It was a joint venture between the NFL and I think it was Marvel, right?
Yeah, and the Eagle, Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep, it was pretty bad. But those type of unions are really cool because you got ROM Space Knight and US1 that came out of things like that. But anyway, so the project I'm working on right now is still the Monster Races book. We basically took classical D&D monsters and anthropomorphized them. This started because at one point in one of our books, we wrote the playable Tarasklings, which are literally something fell off a Tarask and grew into a thing, into a humanoid thing. So people were really psyched about it, so we started making an entire book on it. So we have like Neolithid folk, we have what do we have? Chimera folk, half sphinxes. God, we have lots of them. But anyway, there's a lot of really fun stuff in there, and one of the things I want to talk about is, hey, we got Jacob Blackman for it. I haven't used him actually, but I reached out to him. I'm like, you know what? I got a little bit of a budget. Let's see what I can have him do. I only need 2 pieces from him, but it's pretty much done. We wrapped on one of our editing passes last night. And
it's always fun to give Jacob work because like you don't really have to give him a great deal of context. You can just give him the copy because he's a gamer. Like he knows exactly what it's supposed to look like because he's a gamer and a gaming artist. So like, yeah, I don't know. I always like recommending Jacob. Yep.
So we have a stock like art fill out form that we send people, but I also link them to the actual documents. I reprinted like the physical description section for him and gave him the art.
Oh yeah, it's still good to give him like an art order, but like he's way more intuitive about it than your average artist would be.
Oh, definitely, that's a huge advantage for him. And we're having some fun with that. There's a few minor things, like there's a racial feat I'm not happy with in 1 or 2 of them. Everything has feat support. We got a what is it? Let's say there were some that we had to cut. Like I wanted to do Jabberwocky folk, but I didn't have a chance to. I still may write that if we have time. Oh, the Zorf is my favorite. The Zorf is, you know what bilateral symmetry is? Like this, like it splits you down the center. Well, we have a trilateral symmetry dwarf, so it's 3 faces. It's for some reason a dwarf and a Zorn decided to get down and dirty.
Yeah, you talked about this one before.
Yep. So I actually finished writing it up this week, and I am very excited about how unfortunately wonderful it is. Like he has like a ring of like beard. Looks like a collar, like stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got going on.
Well, I'm the only one that listed anything in our favorite projects that are not ours.
Yeah, I
That
got
being
nothing
the-
that I want to like really pimp out.
I have one.
Good. What is it?
All right, so I mentioned working with Nocturnal Media.
Yeah.
Very briefly, and actually, I know that they've got one of the last projects that like Stuart Wyatt actually worked on to Kickstarter relatively soon. It's about next Tuesday, and it's really cool. I think it sounds really great. It's called Paladin, Warriors of Charlemagne,
Oh, cool.
and you take on the role of like a French knight, and it's really cool. I've already butchered Alan's name. I'm going to butcher one of his writers who's on it because I actually wrote it down, trying to pronounce it out. Yeah, I'm just going to say Ruben T. I apologize to you, advance, Ruben. I apologize, Ruben T. Gruen.
So is it
Greg
like
Stafford.
Crusades or is it fantasy?
More like Crusades, but it looks really cool. It's still very fantasy. It's very similar to the I think that's your Pendragon.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And you said it's going to be in like 2 weeks?
Yeah. No, next week.
Next week. Oh, so it's probably what, Tuesday next week?
Mhm.
Oh, and you said it's based. Alan said it's based on Pendragon.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's pretty cool. I've gotten to see what the cover looks like, and it sounds like it's an amazing project. So it'll be on Kickstarter.
Cool. Yeah, I was just gonna say the Genius Guide to the Talented Bestiary, which is doing awesome. I guess it's #1 Pathfinder product and the #7 product overall on drive-through. The Talented line of stuff is basically like a miniaturized point buy system. So if you're gonna make a monster and you know you want it to be a dragon, you can sort of simplify the way you go about creating it with these rules. Well, simplify and expand, obviously. They're neat, honestly. It's a good book, and it's huge. It's like 400 some pages. So if you're keen on a new kind of Pathfinder bestiary or just a new Pathfinder bestiary, definitely something to check out. That one is from Rogue Genius Games.
Yep.
What is it? Oh, $28 for the PDF, and then $60 for the hardcover. But that's because it costs a lot to print those hardcovers. Variant is about that long, and it costs $30, I think, just the ink and glue and stuff.
Yeah, they're really expensive.
Well, it's not an offset print, and the bigger the book gets, the more expensive it's going to
Yeah.
get for not doing offset. And, all right, and Scott, you sure you don't have anything?
Well, I don't want to talk again. I like using that spot only if I really am like, yeah, there you go. So I'm gonna hold off this week until I want to give you guys good news, not meh news.
All right. So Pathfinder and Starfinder news and speculation. As always, we will begin this section with the link to the Google document where somebody has been collecting all of the Starfinder updates and releases and stuff. I don't want to see how big it is now. I want to say it's probably going to be like 70 some pages at this point. And there have been a lot more releases. They've talked about more of the iconics. They've explained how hacking is going to work and etc. on the Paizo blog. So, yeah, nothing major new for Starfinder as opposed to last week, which was a ton of shit.
But yeah,
Looking pretty
Kingmaker
cool.
wrapped up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
It's looking really cool to me.
Oh yeah.
I forget, is the book going to be out at Gen Con?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm probably not going to be able to break away from the booth long enough to wait in line, because I remember when Pathfinder came out, and
Yep.
you could have made a lap around the hall waiting to get Pathfinder. But that is a book I'm going to pick up, probably in like PDF, just because I use a lot of e-readers. But no, that's one of those books where I'm kind of sitting and waiting for some notification. It's usually one of my friends on Facebook mentioning it, and it's going to be like, "Oh, Starfinder's out." No, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to go through my friendly local game store because there's no way they're going to have enough copies for Gen Con. Because we'll talk about Gen Con in a bit, but yeah, it's going to be crazy this summer. Fucking insane in about a month. And then Kingmaker is done. So I guess we'll talk about it in this section. Scott wants to.
Yeah,
Tell us,
definitely.
Scott.
So yeah, they got 1,800 backers, just shy of $1 million, $900,009.
18,000 backers, he means.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, 18,000 backers.
Yes. And just shy of 1 million,
Yep.
which is quite a bit of money.
Which means they unlocked one of the highest ones, one of the stretch goals, which was a goblin companion who imagines himself to be one of the nascent gods of the goblins, which is freaking hilarious to me.
Yeah.
He is wonderful, and I know that he's the first person I can. As soon as I can recruit him, I will. He's a sneaky git. He's a rogue. He collects animals, and apparently you can pay him in trash and stuff. And I kind of love that about him. But yeah, so what the stretch goals they hit were the Magus, the extra story stuff, 3 archetypes per class, and the social achievements. All backers are getting wallpapers and what they called silly cheat codes. So don't know what that is, but it should be awesome. They're bragging about having over 100 monsters, 10 classes, 10 or more classes, and more than 7 races. And you actually get this cool section where they're talking about like the art design. They actually broke down all of the style guide for Pathfinder art. They're like, all right, so we want to have all the equipment displayed somewhere on the person. They showed actually where everything goes in the art guidelines for each class. So like the fighter, if you have like a sword and a dagger and like a spear on you, you'll see all 3 in like their proper places on them, as well as like all your pouches are hanging in different places. It's really interesting. They gave some visual distinction to each class based on the artwork from some of the Pathfinder books. I thought it's pretty cool. And they actually used art references from like existing Paizo produced stuff to produce them. So you saw like the iconics. They're like, all right, so we took their core rulebook artwork. Here's the Reaper Mini. Here's the little WizKids rubbery thing. Here's some other artwork. And we're going to combine all of them. And here's the ending character model. And it looks just like them.
It's dope. Yeah, it's going to be a good game. I figured they'd get... I didn't think they'd break 1 million. I thought they were going to go somewhere in like the 950. But 900,000 is nothing to scoff at.
No, not at all. That's a good thing. My only...
I'd take that.
Yeah.
My only kind of concern was... So I was on a plane ride from Chicago last weekend, so I had to read all my old emails, and that's why I'm putting this section. They're doing a bit of a thing where they're combining skills into a more streamlined system. And I'm okay with that, I guess. I'm a little... I want to see how far they're going away from Pathfinder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of that's going to be interesting because they can't just use the rules as written, because that would be illegal. So, like, well, I'm interested to see what exactly the fix was, and I bet you that the skill system is involved in that.
I almost guarantee it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they mentioned something about this is what they were showing in Unchained. I'm like, oh, they could use all the Unchained rules is what they could use.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was probably one of the selling points for making
Yep.
Unchained instead of making Pathfinder 2.0.
So I think when we've discussed in the past that Pathfinder Unchained seemed like a jumping off point for Starfinder, and if they're able to use, I think they kind of were like, let's make the game 1.5 and just put it over here, put it in our own little bubble, and kind of see what happens with it. And I'm kind of excited to see where that goes. I really am.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be a sick game. Only got a year to wait.
Only. How that's gonna happen is I'll be sitting there working on something. Bing! You got a new thing in your Steam folder. You know what? Oh, I backed that. That's right. You know. But I'm hoping to see. I hope it's good. John, you
That
haven't seen it
happens
yet?
all the time.
Yeah.
All right.
That happened with Chroma Squad for me. That's one of the best damn games ever. You guys ever play that one? Chroma Squad, the Sentai one?
No.
Oh my god, you gotta play it. It is amazing.
Well.
But anyway, so...
D&D 5e news and speculation. There's the Greyhawk Initiative was the news done at the Arcana. We've already talked about that previously. It's Mike Merle's alternative initiative system. It is supposed to promote faster play. I was skeptical. Scott was also, I think, skeptical.
very
I
skeptical
believe it
about
was
it.
episode like 6 or something. I don't know. 12. We have a lot now. I'm more interested in talking about Planeshift Amonkhet because John and I have been chatting about an Egyptian theme thing you want to do. So yeah,
The art is gorgeous, dude.
another one of their like Magic the Gathering / D&D 5e cooperatives. and it's like I haven't actually looked at it. It's a 40-page thing, right? Like a 40-page PDF with a bunch of monsters and other stuff for their magic Egyptian setting. And you want to do magic Egyptian thing, so did you check it out or?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's beautiful. Like for starters, all the Planeshift stuff has been like sorely overdue for like Magic players who also game, because like the biggest complaint that anyone's ever heard is, well, what if I want into my game, or what if I want to fight Phyrexians? And I think the decision to make these free is nothing just short of brilliant, because they've already got the artwork, they've got people on staff who can do the layout, and they've got people who are skilled at game design. So it's the fact that they're able to just combine it all together and release a free thing to their fans, especially fans who've probably bought minimum $60 in Magic cards for this set, and then probably maxed out like $300 or $400 for the set to get everything. That's great fan support. But as for the actual product, beautiful. It's short, but you know, I always want more, especially if it's something I'm digging. So when I got to page 40 and I kept hitting like the next button, and I'm like, did my reader break? What's going on? And I love ancient Egypt. It's one of my favorite cultures, and the mythology behind it. That dog's a fan too.
Yeah, he my corgi's like, oh man, ancient Egypt, yeah.
But no, and just this, I've been wanting to work on a setting like that for a while, and this setting has only done nothing but just spur that forward. And they did such a great job converting the races. And I love how the storyline, because I don't keep up with Magic anymore, just because, you know, I'm too much of an addict when it comes to cards. But it was nice being able to read the summary and finding out that, like, Nicol Bolas has created this realm where he's tricking all these people into becoming the honored undead for his religion. But all the cultural stuff they worked in around it, that it's like, no, I want to run people through the city trapped in a magical blast, keeping out demons. There's
the last time I kept up with the lore was Urza Saga, so you can tell how long ago that's been.
Yeah, I was just about to say, if WotC wants to call me up and like write an adventure with Gerard, Capuchin, and Squee, please, at any moment, I will give you Captain Sisay out the wazoo. Like,
and I'll write your Brothers War stuff just fine. I love that stuff, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Revenue X, one of my favorite villains to this day.
So,
my favorite series actually was what was it, Ice Age? It was way back then. That was like what, 3rd or 4th edition.
So,
and I got into the game around 6, so I had to go searching for the cards. But like, I still have my fucking Necropotence deck. I love it. I love it. All my friends are like, I want to play against Necropotence deck. I spent all weekend working on this thing. Like,
see, I really dug. I like Darksteel. I know it sounds weird because there's some really broken things in there, but Darksteel was a fun setting. But also, Urza's Saga was the thing. It was the first one I came in on. Yeah. And I actually read all the lore. It started my love of worms. I'm not talking about dragons, guys. I'm talking about your green worms. I had a green-blue worm deck, which was, all right, guys, I'm eventually going to get my worms out. You're going to die. And if in the meantime, I'm going to use my low-cost blue cards to keep counterspelling your ass. I
was too poor, so I only got to do booster drafts. Like, I couldn't even afford like the deck tournaments that just the open ones. I was just like the occasional booster draft, and at one of them I managed to get second place at one, which was fantastic. And then another one I got a standing ovation, not because I won, but I got near the top and I had made a blue counter deck like in the booster draft, and everybody was like, what? That was the series where like there were blues where you could change the color type, and then all the effects and counter stuff and like all that was based on what color type you controlled. So you
I had the worst experience was I'd got my worms out. I was like, oh man, my friend and this guy just put out all these tokens. And I'm like, I don't care. I'll take him out. It won't matter. And I was about to beat him. He had very low life points left. I'm like this, and he goes, I get the card. I'm like, what card? It was semifinals of a tournament. Puts on Day of Dragons, which turns every token he has in the field into, I remember it was like a 3/3 flying dragon, and it just one turn. I'm like, well, good.
Yeah.
So that was my worst. And I was a kid at that point. I was like in my early teens. I'm like, I'm gonna win. And the guy's like, I got the card. Boom. I'm like,
I made a guy quit out of a tournament by playing Tranquility on his red enchantment damage deck, and the guy literally just in anger shoved all his cards into his hat, looked at me and just said, "I can't believe I lost this epic tournament because you played a 10-cent card." And I'm like, "You were killing everybody with the most annoying deck at this whole tournament, and you're mad because my strategy was, hey, what if someone brings that deck? I'll bring Tranquility, which destroys enchantments."
Beautiful.
And see, that's actually what I like about this Amonkhet, because we just started talking about Magic like 5 minutes, and that's why I really hope that WotC A continues to release these Planeshift things, and B, if you're listening, kind of like how you've plugged it several times, if you need a writer who would work on a larger Amonkhet book, right here.
Yeah.
You have 3 sacrifices right here, I think.
Saying they have the adventures already ready, just put rules to the narrative and you're done.
Yep.
Yeah.
The art's done. You own all the art, guys. This is so simple. Your production costs for this will be somebody to organize it, somebody to edit it, somebody to write it, and somebody to lay it out, and you're done.
And when you say write, you mean
dudes,
translate at this
or ladies
point.
or whatever. Yeah.
So
translators, whatever.
So Greyhawk Initiative, you were talking about it?
Oh yeah, we already talked about
that's
that.
right. So
Other
business.
RPG business. The Star Trek Adventures RPG is available in PDF.
I am a huge Star Trek fan. I've been running a site there's a site that's been out there for about a decade that I'm an admin on. One thing I really liked they did with the cover is I haven't read the book yet. I'm bad. I haven't bought it yet. I've been doing too many other things. It wasn't a pew pew laser fight. That makes me so excited when people in Star Trek don't start off with a pew pew laser fight. Yeah, they had guns, but some guy was scanning something. You know what I mean? It was interesting. It was intrigue, and it wasn't pew pew laser fight. That's not Star Trek. God damn it! Unless you're the Dominion War, and there's a reason for that though. Sorry, it upsets me.
Well, the lady looks like she's about to shoot somebody.
Yeah, but she's not. That's the point. It's like there's a thing.
It looks like 3D art. That's what's got me tripping.
Yeah, it does.
What's that about?
I got to work on this very briefly at the very beginning because I work with Modiphius. I know Chris Birch, and I remember when he showed me the artwork. I was visiting London for my mom's retirement trip, and I got to chill with Chris for one evening, and he just wrapped up the email, and he was so excited to show it to me, and he just went on and on about all of his plans he was hoping to do. And he was in that moment that we all get into where you're a game designer and you kind of oh, and we're hoping to do this, and then we're going to go to the moon, and then we're going to go to Enterprise.
Launch moment.
Yeah. And, but no, he put together a team that's all Trekkies. And from the beginning, the guiding thing for design for this game has been, this isn't just sci-fi adventures on space. And this isn't just Star Trek either. This is your Trek experience with you in it. And that was what they were trying to do when they were building the game. So they were trying to make it so that it didn't matter if you only stored a new Trek. They didn't matter if you were a member of a Klingon starship in real life. Which I met that gentleman at Gen Con. He was really cool.
I got 2 friends like that, I know.
And that was the whole design thing behind it, where they wanted it to be as true to the setting, but more just true to the fans. Yeah. And I got to read the book, and it's gorgeous on the inside. And they've got these little chapter segments where famous people from the Star Trek universe are musing on something. There's a data one, and there's the Cardassian Gull from the episode where the Phoenix in Star Trek: The Next Generation is flying around the Cardassian Empire blowing stuff up.
Yeah.
They've got a little journal entry from that Cardassian.
So they know their stuff. Wow, I love it.
Oh yeah. And I think fans are really gonna love it. It's sold really well so far.
Yeah. Well,
but I really, people are really they're gonna dig it.
Very cool.
So Gen Con, what's up with that?
4-day badges are totally gone, as are
God.
1-day badges for Saturday. So if you're trying to go, you better go now. I don't know if at this time the broadcast, I know that the NEs were looking for volunteers, and they had badges on offer. And I think Baldman or Goodman, I never remember, but one Baldman or Goodman were looking for GMs for Shadows of the Demon Lord and I think Masks, also offering badges. So good luck getting there. I'm sure it's going to be crazy. I'm getting in Wednesday morning. When are you showing up, John?
I'm a local.
That's right.
So I'm going to be there from Wednesday when I help truck in all the stuff for Third Eye Games. And we do the ever so pleasant and lovely, setup in that hot exhibition hall.
I don't want to hear it. I'm in Arizona right now.
I'll see you. I think we're over by Artist Alley, where Engine and Transmission Games is going. Although they got a pallet, and the rest, people will be hauling out of my van quickly and through the regular doors, because I am not doing the load-in again. That shit was bullshit. You hang out in a dusty field for like an hour, and then you have like 10 minutes after you drive through the confusing fucking directions down into the loading area to get all your shit out of the car and leave again. And I don't understand.
I've literally had to like throw bags at people and be like, start setting up. I've got to move my car.
Yeah.
Have them go, we don't know how it's supposed to be set up. And I'm like, I don't care. Just when Eloy gets here, just do what he says. And I have to race back to my car. And it doesn't matter if I get there at like 5 minutes over the limit or 2 minutes under. There's always a blue shirt yelling at you going, get your car out of here.
Yeah.
Other people have to get this dock.
And you can only go inside and move stuff in if you have a badge.
Yeah, I think
so.
Yeah, just what most cons do.
Or the little paper wrap on your wrist.
Oh yeah, paper wrap. Okay.
Yeah. Which last year, some friends of mine, they're very well meaning, but they accidentally bogarted all of ours.
Oh no.
So we had to get to the hall, and they were like, "No, we'll just return them." And it's like they tape around your wrist. What do you think you were going to do? Cut them off and like glue them?
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, we'll just find tape or something." And it's like, okay, find tape. We've got to get in there.
Yeah.
That sucks.
But the 40 badges sold out. Like, I know that the number one like thread on the Gen Con Facebook group next to the Gen Con Ghost Con is just, is it going to be super packed? What are people going to do to get in? And then like how many total people are actually going to be there? And I've heard a lot of numbers, and I don't know what numbers are to be believed. I've heard
75.
Someone told me 175.
Oh my
No bullshit.
I have no idea.
No. That last year was 62 or something. There's no way.
I thought that was just
75. What?
I thought that was just unique turnstile, which meant new people.
Oh yeah. No. I thought that was. Now I want to look it up because I don't think it was 162.
All right, so Mike,
Christ.
Mike, while you look it up, we'll move on to the other media of interest.
Yeah. Move on to the media of interest.
So I will leave that one for you. Let's see. Here, I will talk about some stuff that I put on here while you do that. So, you know how everyone like supported that big Bring Young Justice Back thing on Netflix and was all like, everyone's so psyched about it, and they finally managed to get it, and the cast is like, man, we're doing it. We're actually like we're actually in the sound booth today recording stuff. Yeah, great job, guys. Well, it's not gonna be on Netflix.
Yeah.
They pulled it. WB announced back in April that they're doing their own content platform, and they're pulling everything WB off Netflix and putting on their own thing, including the new Young Justice series, which is called Young Justice Outsiders, which will be out in 2018 at some point. Which also means if you are watching any of the Justice League series that's currently on there, you have until August 1st to finish up because they're going to be moving to the other platform. That just feels like a huge slap in the face, honestly.
Everybody's trying to do that. Every studio is trying to do their own media content, which I can sort of see. But the only thing that I would want is if they could make it free.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't mind downloading another app or I don't mind that. But when it's like, hey, watch all WB content, you can watch Animaniacs or Tiny Toons or or Batman or Young Justice, but pay us $8.99 a month. And it's like, for $8.99 a month, I'll wait till the DVD go into the bargain bin on Amazon.
Yeah. So the problem is, so currently I pay for Amazon Prime and I pay for Netflix. I used to pay for Hulu, but it doesn't really matter. Mike, you got the numbers?
Yeah, continued a 7-year streak of record turnstile attendance last year with 201,852 attendees. And you were right. It's just new people.
Oh, wow.
Unique attendance, whatever unique attendance is, was just at 60,819. So,
that's
good Lord.
So
maybe it will be like 250,000 people. That's insane.
So, yeah, like I was saying, I don't want to pay for another app just because you don't want to put it on Netflix. I don't want to pay...
here's the issue, guys. From the production standpoint, there used to be a whole lot of money in creating television series because you pull in a ton of ad revenue.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, there are more people with a Netflix account in the United States than there are on cable in the United States. And the number of providers and the amount of ad revenue you get, there is no ad revenue to be gotten from Netflix. Let's start there. The only ad revenue that you're going to get is product placement. There's no commercials, right? So like their whole model of production, from like where the money comes from to buy the cameras and pay the cameraman and everything else, that's all fucked up.
Well,
and they're
it's a
scrambling to
paradigm
figure out
shift.
how to...
It's different.
So yeah, I understand why they're going to try to go to an $8.99 model. What their problem is like they need to realize that the gold line, like it's run out, right? Like, because if you make it too difficult or too expensive for people to access, they're just gonna find a free way to access it, and you're gonna suck an egg, man. Like,
for me, it's all about I can't afford cable. We pay about $50 or $60 for internet, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And
same here.
We got rid of cable as well.
I mean, we have Netflix and Hulu, but like, what is that? Another $20 a month?
Yeah,
Tops?
that's it.
15, 16?
My mom still has cable, and it seems like every month she is on the phone yelling at AT&T, just like, you raised my rates by $60 again. I want a fixed income. I can't afford $200 a month. And they'll do something and they'll knock it back down to like $140. And I'll just look at it and be like, you're paying $140 a month? I mean, it's for internet and cable, but like that means you're paying like $80 for TV. Yeah. And if you looked at TV these days, especially AT&T, it goes normal channel, commercial channel, normal channel, commercial channel, until you get to the 200s, and then you have about 30 pay-per-view channels, which they oddly have like the kids' movie channels next to Playboy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there literally is a fine line between, do you want to watch Moana or She Moans? I mean, no, we're watching Moana, just Moana.
Yeah.
But no, I understand that cable companies have to make a profit too. But yeah, it's just so many people these days where it's like, I'd much rather spend $60 for internet and then maybe $20 a month on like Netflix, Hulu, and something else.
Yeah.
It's a unique industrial problem because unlike most services, like taxis, right? Like taxis are going the way of the dinosaur real fucking quick.
I was talking to the guy from Kenya in Chicago about that, yeah.
But taxis here are not a supported infrastructure the same way cable is, right? Like cable requires running lines. There's an enormous amount of like intermingling with the cable company and local municipalities for them to provide their services the same way that the electric company or the water company provides services. So it's not going to collapse in any kind of... my angle is so fucked up for this. I feel like it's a weird German expressionist crap. It's their collapse is going to be really gradual and weird. It's not going to be like, the taxi service or an equivalent technology overcome industry.
So
yeah, it's weird.
The thing is going to be, it's like there has to be another source of revenue for them. They have to find that source of revenue. They have to latch on. They have to figure out what it's going to be. They have to build up that revenue. Does that mean integrated ads? What?
Right? Like Crackle has integrated ads, and I watched Crackle for Super Mansion because that shit was funny and excellent. And if you haven't watched Super Mansion, go do it. It's free. It's on Crackle. You have to watch like 3 commercials an episode. It's really not a big deal.
Crunchyroll does the same.
Yeah, no, it's
some anime.
hilarious.
I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
When I watch, when I go to Mom's and I watch shows on her on-demand stuff, which is free, they make you watch ads, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
Because it was sort of you're making me watch ads in the middle of Bones? Oh, it's like I'm watching Bones live. Okay, whatever. I have to watch a 60-second ad, oddly enough sometimes, 4 bones.
Yeah.
So you're telling me about this week's
And
episode?
YouTube has ads too, you know? Like, a lot of YouTube channels have ads that make revenue off ads. It's just not the bountiful planes that the TV advertising market once was.
Well, that's because they built up the infrastructure over, 30, 40 years, and we're now just getting into this thing where, hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, guess what? That's where, that's how...
What really fucked them was their, like, disdain for actually caring about customer service.
Oh, totally.
Because if you look at any industry, nobody gets shit on for customer service like the cable industry has been shit on for customer service.
So I actually worked...
Even fucking, like, airplanes need to harm people to get treated worse than the cable companies get treated, because that's how...
The bank have better public service records. Yeah. So I actually worked marketing for... Since I'm under NDA, I worked digital marketing for...
There's only, like, 3.
There were a few. I worked for one of them, though. There was some of my project. They were one of my clients at one point. Getting anyone to write an article that was in any way positive about them was like pulling teeth. The only venue I could find was, hey, you guys do some great charity work. Cool. I like that. We can put out stuff on that. No, we don't want you to talk about that. We want you to talk about this exact thing right here. It is a publicity only. It is like, it's selling our packages and you will accept it. I'm like, okay, keep throwing money at us. We'll try, you know. I got angry emails back. I got some guys swearing me out on the phone one point. I'm never going to deal with insert company here. I hate those bastards. I'm like, okay, thank you very much for your time, sir. But yeah, we're in the middle of a paradigm shift. I mean, I'm interested to see where it goes.
Well, actually, today is the day for net neutrality action, and that's where it's going. As their solution to this is to try to ration off the internet in a profitable fashion.
And here's the thing, net neutrality, I'll tell you right now, people, if you find a dam, the water's going to go around the dam. You know what I mean? I mean, you're just going to force people to go to their own private, distribution networks and stuff. It's not going to work.
To New Zealand, and in our first conversation with my buddy who's helping me out, he had to get up and get the door because people had come to install fiber to his house, like a fiber line.
Oh my god!
And we were all like, "Oh, well, how much is that costing?" He was like, "Oh, what? Oh no, it's not costing anything." We're like, "What?" He's like, "Nah, they're just doing that everywhere." They said, "No, the state's doing it."
God.
And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
God.
Yeah. So.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
And
anyway,
as we discussed last week, prostitution is legal there, so that's even better.
What else is going on? Movie stuff. The Aladdin movie is, I think, going to be a disaster.
I haven't seen it.
First of all,
it's Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie's directing it. So, disaster number 1. Disaster number 2, they're having trouble casting it, which is insane because Bollywood is much bigger than Hollywood, and a lot of those people speak English.
So you guys do know that there is an Aladdin movie. Like, my love. There is an Aladdin movie, a Bollywood Aladdin movie that is like,
killer, I'm sure.
Oh, it's terribly bad. It's wonderful.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's bad, but it's good. It has some famous Bollywood actors in it. I can't pronounce his name, so don't ask me to.
I know they get big budgets for that. Like their budgets loom way above Hollywood's.
And the thing is, it is the most Bollywood movie you will ever see. The genie, even in like Hindi, is not called genie. He's called genius. And there's some amazing dance numbers in there. I don't know. I've watched it like 3 or 4 times. Do not watch it on YouTube. You can buy it on YouTube. The dub and the sub don't match up to the voices at all. At one point, it starts getting away from it. So go buy it like at a DVD bin or something. It is amazing. Up there with my favorite Bollywood movies. Up there with Dhoom 3. If you guys haven't seen that, oh my god, we have to do an episode on Bollywood. I would die.
Let's talk about Bollywood. So they're having trouble casting this one, although apparently Will Smith is on board. So reason number 3.
Is he the genie, or is he like?
Who knows, man? He's almost certainly.
He's dead shot in this one too.
He's what?
He's dead shot in this one too.
Oh, nice. Dead shot in this one too. That'd be sweet. I'd be down for that.
You only get 3 wishes. I don't think I only get 3 wishes.
There's a Furiosa focused Mad Max script. There are actually 3 scripts from what I understand, and they're just waiting for George Miller to pick which one. So that's cool.
So what people were all like, "Oh, is this one where Mad Max is gonna be?" I've shared that article. Someone goes, is this the one where Mad Max is gonna be the main character? I'm like, look, since the first one, he's had decreasing agency. He's the POV character. He's not the protagonist in any of his, really. Like, he is to a degree, but again, decreasing agency as it goes through the movies. Like the last one, he's literally just the audience surrogate, basically at that point.
Yeah.
So, oh no, he's not in this one.
So 3, he was definitely the protagonist with 3 and 2.
Well,
no, I think you're right. He's got less and less of a centralized role in each one. He's just kind of like the catalyst.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He has some agency, but it's decreasing in each movie, and to the point where Fury Rogue, wherever that fits in their universe, which I actually don't care. I like the movie. Is just going to be, I don't know, basic. You know, I'm okay with it. He's just literally the audience sitting there going, I have a question about the plot. And they go, oh, okay, other character, you know. He's exposition man and doesn't talk. It's great.
Cards Against Humanity for her is out. It is exactly the same as Cards Against Humanity, except it's in a pink box and costs $5 more. Which I think is perfect for that company. There's also,
totally
I guess, a period pack that you can get. Yeah, no, that's their marketing.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I have it in quotes. It's like, now there's an answer. Cards Against Humanity for her. It's exactly the same as the original Cards Against Humanity game, but the box is pink and it costs $5 more. End quote. Like,
it's an actual marketing thing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but no, yeah, hey, we made this for you. We made razors for you. They're pink. We think you'll like it. They're twice the cost of a men's razor.
Yeah, exactly.
It's called discriminatory pricing policies.
It's really just like a marketing gimmick to go alongside they've released a period pack for like add-on cards. They're all about periods.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. And the last thing was I don't play the Batman DC Universe Miniatures game, but I might try to get this anyway. There's a Batmite figurine at Gen
Oh my
Con.
god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I play it. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, well check it out, dude. They're doing an exclusive Batmite miniature at Gen Con.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm trying to get one because it's fucking Batmite.
So
I'm curious how powerful it's going to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Mike, have both of you guys seen?
I did. I saw it.
John, have you seen Spider-Man: Homecoming yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so we can.
Spoiler
alert! Spoiler! So what do you guys think?
Oh, I loved it.
I was laughing my ass off from start to finish.
It felt like Ultimate Spider-Man, which I was okay with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the original Vulture, but Ultimate Vulture was cool too, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I actually really like Vulture 2099 because I'm a fucking weirdo, so...
2099 was a fun universe, even outside of Spider-Man 2099. One thing I thought they got really close with was, if you read the old Spider-Man comics, he is a high schooler. I mean, if you guys don't know Marvel's background, before they produced superhero comics, they produced two types of comics. Romance, drama comics, like for teenagers, and horror comics. And they kind of went like this, and they said, look, they're superheroes, guys. So they still had that coming on strong when they were inventing Spider-Man, who is a teenage drama like character who also is a Superman, by the way, if you didn't know, you know? So
what they really killed it with this movie was they got the spirit right.
Yes,
like when you're reading a Spider-Man comic, there's a certain vitality to it that isn't present in Superman or Batman or Captain America or really any other comic. That it ties in with his bravado and like the smart mouth he's got, right? But there's just an excitedness to the whole fucking thing, and this movie coalesced that into a film and did so better than all the other Spider-Man movies.
So the thing is, like, this movie Spider-Man is the young guy in the series, which is kind of
the opening of the movie was dope too.
The whole thing was great, dude.
Oh yeah. It's like a video log he's keeping of like during the whole events of Civil War. He's like, oh, there's Captain America. Oh shit, that's me. All right, I'll be back. And he like sets the phone down. You see him like leap out and catch the shield. Yeah.
And
the infomercials, like he gets in trouble at school and they make him watch Captain America videos.
I love the line of they go, wait, isn't he a war criminal right now? Yeah, don't worry about it.
Whatever. Yeah.
The thing is with
that series, the Stinger at the end, right?
They said, what was that?
You watched the Stinger at the end, right?
Oh, of course.
I did not get to catch the Stinger. Tell me what the Stinger was.
The final Stinger is, if you stay through all the credits, it's a Captain America PSA where he just goes, persistence is rewarded, but not always. And just basically just says something like that, and then it just ends. He's like,
he then also looks off camera and goes, "How many more of these are we recording?"
Yep. So one thing I thought was really cool was, if you guys didn't know, Damage Control exists. Damage Control is a team within the Marvel universe which cleans up after superhero fights. They get the government contracts. They're kind of fun, and they set up the premise for that, and they have a Damage Control. Was it a movie or a series? I forget.
I thought it was supposed to be a series.
Yeah. So that's coming out at some point, and I'm kind of like, oh, that's cool. So I'm a huge Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan. One thing that I noticed they did, but they didn't call it out. What I know, I'm self-abusive if I like that show.
So bad.
I love the show. That's why I love it, though. It's so corny. They had the big jet come out and turn like stealth and everything. Cloak. Yeah. That's the Zephyr, but it's not the Zephyr. It's the same class of ship as the Zephyr that does the same thing. I'm like, oh, that's a little nod. I don't know if they meant it intentionally, but I'm sure they did.
Well, if you haven't seen Spider-Man, definitely go see it. It's good.
Yep.
I love their version of the Vulture.
He was fun.
I love
Michael Keaton.
I mean,
I loved his motivations. I love the fact that he was like literally he was a city construction guy who got screwed over by the government, proving once again that nobody in the Marvel universe, like every good guy in the Marvel universe, is going to create a villain at some point.
Yep.
And just watching this, and it was just sort of like, wow. Oh, and did you catch the nod? How all of his henchmen or else turn out later on to be supervillains.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I like the Shocker. Shocker is one of my favorite villains, so I like that he got some love.
And the guy who tinkers, Smith, is the Mad Tinker.
Oh, is he? I didn't catch that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then of course we all saw Matt Gargan, who is the Scorpion.
Yep. Yeah, I saw the tattoo up there. I was like, are they going for that? Is that who they're going? Oh, all right.
I mean, that's why else would you hold on to Spider-Man if you couldn't get your hands on the Sinister Six?
So,
right?
actually, there's a really weird thing. So, I know you two know, but let me just say it for their viewers. So, Sony has given them the rights to use Spider-Man in Marvel movies. Basically, Sony funded it and gets all the money, but Marvel created it and gets the marketing rights, the toy and merchandising rights. But Sony still has control of a bunch of Spider-Man characters. So they're producing a Venom movie that makes no reference to Spider-Man and can't make reference to Spider-Man, and they're not only stopping there, they're making connected movies with. There's one movie with two villains, I can't remember which two they are, and they're doing a Black Cat and Silver Sable one, and I'm like, that's gonna confuse a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
That just blows my mind how they're setting that up.
Let's see what goes down.
Well, from what I understand, Marvel sold the rights to X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man years ago.
Yes,
we're talking like in the 90s, 2000s. Yeah. And they did it on like a self-renewing contract.
Yep.
Where as long as Sony and Fox continued to pay the contract, which was like 5 or 10% of the expected gross income for that product each year, then they got to keep it.
Yep.
And unfortunately, Marvel could never get that annulled, because it's not like Sony or Marvel or Fox acted in bad faith. I mean, they did a Fantastic Four movie, but they didn't.
That's it. I think that movie counts as an act of bad faith.
Yeah.
There's one reason why they
actually
sequel
to it. You know that? Fan Four Stick. They're going forward with a sequel to that movie. At least last I heard.
They have to do something with the property every so many years, or else they let it lapse.
Well, there's something in the industry called ash can copies. It's for comics, but it's also for movies. It basically means a movie that technically, or a work that technically satisfies the contract for that. For example, they made a ash can Fantastic Four movie back in the 70s
94.
or 80s.
Roger Corman.
And they released it on such a limited basis that it was the minimum amount of things they had to release, and they released it to like friends of the people who worked in the movie, you know.
Stan Lee said afterwards that like once he found out that the people making it didn't realize that its final destination was the ash can, that he wished he would have given them real money.
Yep.
Like to make it like properly.
But yeah, so they do that with comic books sometimes. It's literally like uncolored comic books. They're like, look, we made a comic book technically on it. We gave it out to some people at a convention. But yeah, that's unfortunate. I think that the Fantastic Four movies are unfortunately like a step up from the of an ash can. You know what I mean? They're like, we technically have to make this so Marvel doesn't make money on it. All right, we're
From
just
what I
screw Disney.
recall of the bootleg I saw for the Corman movie, I thought the story, and particularly that was the one where they fucked up Doom the least, which is always the thing that bothers me most about the Fantastic Four movies. Always fuck up Victor Von Doom. Like, you cannot get a better iconic bad scientist anywhere else. Stop fucking with him.
Okay,
Just
so
write him as he's been written forever. He's perfect. Leave him alone.
So
God.
here's the thing, though. He's not just a mad scientist. He's a mad scientist, evil wizard,
Sorcerer
dictator.
who's went to hell trying to save his own mother. His story is so cool. Leave it be.
I would watch just a Doctor Doom movie. Oh my god.
Oh, I would watch. Yes, Doom 2099 was the best series of the 2099 runs.
So have you guys?
Hands down.
Do you guys watch Movie Bob at all? Bob Chipman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bob Chipman actually talked about how he would do the Fantastic Four as a kind of a thought experiment thing. I would love how he did it. Oh my god, it's awesome. I mean, it's not even like super amazing, but it's like it brings in the 70s aspect. It brings in like the entire team dynamics. And the sequel he talked about involves Doom. I'm like, come on, man, Doom.
Doom.
Oh,
Doom
anyway,
carries around a gun. He doesn't carry around a laser gun. He doesn't carry around like a taser. He carries around an old-style German Luger.
Yeah, like he doesn't care. He's Doom. I don't know. I think he fits in nicely actually with the Marvel universe if they got a great charismatic person to play him. Like, okay, so think of like, okay, everyone always says that Marvel has the worst villains, because, and I'm like, okay.
Oh.
The thing is though, think of the ones that we remember though.
Christoph Waltz is Doom.
So think about the people who are like actually memorable villains. You have probably Loki, and maybe I'm gonna say the Vulture from this one is really good. You have really charismatic people playing good villains. I mean, you could make a Loki movie at this point, and everyone would just go see it.
Dude, Christoph Waltz could play Doom to a T.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, if you got someone charismatic to play Doom, and they let him go super over the top, man, I would watch that movie all day, every day.
Yeah.
Richards!
Yeah,
just screaming.
I can
Richard
totally,
around.
I can hear him fucking saying it now in my head. Like, oh shit.
All right, so
All right.
let's
Kickstarters.
Kickstarters.
I only have one to talk about, which is the new Paths Compendium from Kobold Press. What are the stats on it right now?
So I will say that we lied last week. Obviously, this man is not Mark Rattle, so we're going to talk with him in the future. He had something come up, so.
Oh yes,
John, we're very glad to have you all the same.
Indeed. But yeah, they're at 21,000. They have 512 backers. They're way overfunded. They have 15 days left. I'm sure it'll be
Go
pretty
throw
dope.
money at them. It's awesome.
And do we have any other Kickstarters to shout out to?
I didn't have anything.
All right, John.
So John,
What
you
do
got
you
about
want to
10
talk
minutes
about
here.
as your free topic?
Yeah, go nuts. What is the
Moon
burning
Johnson.
passion in your soul right now?
Probably Sleep. Sleep's pretty cool. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. I've only ever gotten like an hour at a time, but Sleep's pretty cool. No,
What's that?
no, like right now, just when it comes to like game design, what I've been finding myself doing a lot, because it's something that I enjoy the most about game design. Like, I'm just gonna also throw this out here. When it comes to making a game, it's arguably the simplest thing that you could commission someone to do. Is that I really like the world building part, because I mean, game mechanics, you can't just go roll this die, take result, add to this, you're done. But with like building a world, it's so easy to go. You're on the world of Draenor. There are two races on there: the Draenei and the Orcs. There's this other world, Azeroth. You can just go from there. But for me, I've always loved that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, when it comes to contract work, that's the thing that people need the least, because almost every game developer out there can do their own world building. But for me,
I just got a contract to do some of that, so.
Mm-hmm. For me, though, something I've been doing a lot, especially because it's very therapeutic, is I've been working on these like side game lines. One of which I'm pretty confident is going to be published someday. That's the one I can't really talk about. The other one that I've been working on is this kind of weird oddball setting that I know I've mentioned a little bit to Mike, where it's a world where the humans, the elves, the dwarves, and all the other standard fantasy races have pretty much died out.
Mm-hmm.
And so the monster races are given time to actually become the dominant powers. So you don't have like the elven kingdom of Rithlis over there. You have, that's the Knoll kingdom of Jawbone. And what I've been doing it just in my free time is I've been doing it from like an anthropological kind of
Interesting
plant.
That's a good way
where
to
I'm wanting
go about it.
What?
That's a good way to go about it. It's an original approach.
I've been wanting to do it from like a 5th ed angle, and that pretty much helps solve itself with mechanics.
Yeah.
Where there would only need to be like certain unique mechanics. But I wanted to make it so that it's not just a reskin D&D game where it's like, oh, you want to play goblins? Use the stats for dwarves. I wanted to make a game where, as you read through it, you actually got to see how these cultures advanced. And so goblins take over the old dwarven holds, but they become like a mercantile society.
Cool.
And they're in the middle of a communist revolution where like the goblin guilds with their bankers control society. And they tell goblins who are born that you have to do well your entire life or you'll end up poor. And if you end up poor, then you're dishonoring all goblins. And so they've in turn developed their own burgeoning like rebellion where there are goblins who are like, no, money doesn't decide who you are. And then you've got like races like the bugbears who are roaming like the northern forests, kind of like the Mongolians did, where they've got yurts and carts pulled by oxen, and
nice.
They raid wherever they please.
I always like when people take a realistic view of the Mongols. They're a very interesting culture.
Yeah. And I've been doing this too. Like I actually like the books are written from the perspective of a human who got stuck in a time dilation field because he was trying to shut off this magical artifact and he got trapped in it. And for him, it was as simple as walking across the room, flipping a light switch, and then walking back. But for him, 200 years have passed.
Huh.
And he possesses this ring which allows him to shapeshift. So he's walking among these societies, and the reader gets to see what a human would see if they were walking in a kingdom made of like Sahagan or lizardmen or harpies. And I'll admit, some of these races are drawn from my love of Warcraft.
That's okay.
When I was a teenager, I played that Warcraft 2 all the time. My sister installed a bootleg copy on the home PC, and I, all the time, man, made custom maps, played all the levels, and played all the way through. And I'm excited because I'm hoping there's going to be a Warcraft 4 coming out soon.
Maybe.
Because I missed a strategy game.
So the one thing that's interesting was you brought up world ruled by monsters. I don't like. Someone's in a really bad echo.
Yeah, there's a.
Anyway, so the one of the races we worked on for that monster book, I don't like just going because it's like anthropomorphized classic monsters. I don't like just going. They did the scoodly poop with a human. Here's the race. That's just boring to me. So one of them, the Chimera race, the Daikai, are actually from a world like you described. It's these guys actually 1,000 years ago were ported over from another universe. That universe was where all the monster races were actually humanoids, and all the humanoids were basically dire feral things. So yes, in that setting, there are potentially, that reference to that world, there are potentially like dire dwarves running around like apes or whatever with like spikes and stuff. I don't know, but I like the idea of exploring the monstrous races. That is just so much fun to do. And if you allow me to plug something, the if you guys are on Reddit, r/world building does a lot of great things with that. I hang out there myself a bit as of late. I'm talking about the utopian sci-fi stuff. I'd go there a bunch. But yeah, that's a great place to explore. See what other people are doing. There's a lot of alternate history stuff there, which isn't my favorite thing, honestly. But there's a lot of really cool, like, hey guys, I drew this race, here's its background. And they get a lot of feedback on it. Art gets really popular there, but...
The Lore Masters subreddit is also good.
Yep, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
I lurk on Reddit a lot.
What?
I lurk on Reddit a lot.
Yep.
It's a complicated den of sin and villainy.
Yep. I did an AMA there at one point, the world building one.
Yeah, I did a game designer AMA 3 years ago or something. 2 years ago, something like that. But yeah, it was fun.
So yeah, it looks like that wraps us up for today. Join us in a few
Well,
minutes here for
Munchausen.
So yeah, guys. Once again, thanks for joining us, John. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
I think we'll have
I
Savannah
love being
joining us
here.
too,
Great.
right? In a bit.
Yeah, thanks for coming on over, man. And I'll see you in like a month at the Gen Con.
At
All right,
Gen
guys.
Con.
So until next time, guys. Have a nice week.